All right, guys, Fuller coming to you with another video. Just a disclaimer: I am by no means label myself as a Pan-African. I by no means keep that label. I don't label myself as that. I label myself as a rogue, radical African nationalist. Okay, and the reason why I don't label myself as a Pan-African is due to the simple fact that most Beleggio who uh, who subscribe to that term are just in it for carnal pleasures, and that's it. I've, as a matter of fact, on one clubhouse meeting, there was one clubhouse where this one Beleggio woman was talking about, oh, she likes African men because of the discipline, because they're taught to be providers, they're taught to be men at an early age, and it's like, I even said, like, we're not under any obligation to want to marry or date Beleggio women because of the simple fact that, like, if they're having a problem with their own women, with their own men, what makes you think they're gonna have give us an easier time? Second of all, you have because of my stance on the Pan-Africanist. You have Beleggio who will like try to tarnish my name and say that I'm ADOS, which is very far from the truth, because if you look at my previous videos, you will see that I have my ECOWAS African passport. You can only get that if you are from the continent, unless you're a scammer like two guys that I'm not going to name. One, I'll just say one's name starts with a D, ends with an A, and then the other guy is like GBA. Okay, but I'm gonna leave it at that. Anyhow, those were some housekeepings that I wanted to do, but I'm monitoring the situation in Mali right now. I'm looking at the situation in Mali, and I'm monitoring it to see if this is going to change the tide of West Africa in general. Because what's going on in Mali is that Mali is very, very much tired of neo-colonialism of the French. For those of you guys who don't know, if it wasn't for French's former colonies in Africa, France wouldn't even run the way it runs right now. Most of the resources, most of the things that France runs upon, it comes from like these former colonies. Because you have to understand something. Mali has a lot of gold. Niger has a lot of raw materials, you know what I mean? And you have to understand that these things are in abundance over there. Central Africa Republic and Guinea Conakry, they have, diamonds and what have you. And, unfortunately, the conflict in Central African Republic had to do a lot of monetary reasons for diamonds, because of the simple fact that, France wanted to put people in power that were going to do its bidding. As a matter of fact, the election was done by France. The election was done actually by France. France actually put that woman in power in Mali, in Central African Republic. You know what I mean? So in Mali, what's going on right now is Malians are very sick of the neo-colonialist occupation. You have Malians protesting in drones right now because of the simple fact that France has done a number on Mali. The thing is that we all know that the jihadists of Mali, they trickled down from Libya, and those jihadists caused nothing but dysfunction. You had different groups of jihadists. You had Al-Qaeda of Maghreb. You had who else? You had Ansar al-Sharia. You had just different groups, okay? And they all had an interest at stake to destabilize the country, right? So, with that being said, unfortunately, the Malians had to rely on the French military. But, the French military's intentions were not pure at all. Eh, the French occupied Mali, but at the same time, they really didn't bring no stabilization to Mali. You have military junta after military junta with the French being there. And then, on top of that, you have the French who were, in essence, robbing Mali dry of gold. You know what I mean? One Malian woman I know, okay, she told me this. Her name is, Bintu, and I call her Auntie. I say, hey, what's up, Auntie Bintu? You know, one thing she told me is that the French, what they used to do is they used to import palm oil into France from Mali, but inside those palm oils were diamonds from Mali. So the French never had the Malians' best interests at hand. When the French occupied Mali, sovereignty was not on the mind. And now, because of Malians taking this stance, like, yo, enough is enough already. We're tired of this shit. We want you guys out of here. There has been a lot of backlash. You have seen, ECOWAS, and they're supposed to be their brothers, put sanctions on Mali, which I don't get. It's like, yo, instead of like putting sanctions on them, why not help them, right? So you have that factor. You have the UN putting sanctions on Mali as well. You know what I mean? So you have all these things going on. So with that being said, we have to ask the question, and this may be a little premature, but is Mali is Mali potentially the Haiti of Africa? And the reason why I ask this is because, at first when the Haitian Revolution kicked off, the initial goal wasn't to be a sovereign country from France. That wasn't the initial goal. The initial goal was just to abolish slavery and make sure people stand on equal footing. For those of you guys who don't know, there are French territories that you are still considered French if you're in those territories. I think Reunion is one of them. I think I think Guadeloupe is one of them. I think also maybe Martinique is one of them. I'm not quite sure. But although they're in the Caribbean, you're still considered a French citizen. France still owns those places. Haiti is not like that. They have their sovereignty. Now, unfortunately, because they have their sovereignty, France never forgave them for that. You have, for example, you have a lot of Caribbean countries. I'm going to be honest, a lot of Caribbean countries don't like Haitians. A lot of Caribbean countries don't like Grenadians either. And the reason why is because these two dared to break colonial yoke, aka colonial backyardism. They dared to do something like that. And so now I see the same thing going on in Mali, okay? You have their own brothers turning against them. And the only brother who's supporting them is Guinea Conakry, okay? So with this being said, will there be a revolution in Mali? Will there be an armed struggle in Mali against the French? And if there is going to be an armed struggle in Mali against the French, will the Malians be successful? Because now you have Russia and China saying that, hey, you guys better back off, of the Malians. Russia and China are on the side of the Malians. So like, yo, you better chill out. You better chill out because of the sanctions. They're telling them to chill. So we have to remain and see what's gonna happen. But The real question is also, will this be a domino effect? Because now I'm looking, and some Nigerians are talking about, some Nigerians are actually talking about and saying, hey, is Nigeria the way it is because of the British still? So these questions are being asked, and I think the reason why these questions are being asked is because of the domino effect that this may have, on West Africa. So we just got to remain and wait and see what's going to happen. And, yeah. But anyhow, Fulu signing out. I'll probably do a video later on or maybe tomorrow about the African Cup of Nations Final 16. One of my predictions kind of came to pass, and Nigeria is looking very strong. They're looking like maybe they can possibly take the whole thing, but we just gotta wait and see. But Fula signing out. Leave your thoughts and leave your comments. And John.